Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires campaign review, this time covering Azag the Slaughterer. So Azag's start position is Khazad Irkilaz, which is the same starting location he had in Warhammer 2, ever since he split from Grimgor's faction and became the Bone Rattlers. His starting enemy is the Rock Skulls, which is a minor Ogre Kingdom faction. These guys here are easy to deal with, typical of turn 1 enemies. However, these guys are a semi-distraction from your true enemy, which is Ungrim Iron Fist. Now, finding Ungrim Iron Fist in this campaign on the higher difficulties is always going to be a pain. The fact that your best units in the early stage of the campaign are going to be Orc Boys, and his best units are going to be Slayers, which he will definitely recruit, it's an unfair matchup, and on higher difficulties, he'll be able to field more than a full stack. So it can be a very frustrating fight in the early stage of the campaign, because it doesn't take Ungrim very long to take out the Red Eye Greenskins, but if you are aggressive, you can actually take out Ungrim Iron Fist before he has a chance to fully consolidate the Red Eye's territory. Now, here's how you go about it. On turn 1, don't attach this wizard into into Azag's army. He's already a wizard, he doesn't need another wizard really. So take this army, smash this one here. You should be able to win it, and then capture Karak Ungor. Instead, move this guy closer to here and just wait. So that's turn 1. Make sure you recruit as many units as you can into Azag's army. Every settlement that you obtain in a province will increase your local recruitment capacity, so you'll be able to recruit fairly quickly. I recommend recruiting Orc Boys into Azag's army. On turn 2, you want to take Azag to here. You'll notice that there'll be a camp in this location here. Just ignore it. The minor Ogre Kingdoms factions, they tend not to recruit new lords from their camps very often, sometimes not at all. So that camp actually isn't really that much of a threat. So yeah, just ignore it. Instead, go after Karak Raziak. You won't be able to reach there in one turn. So just stand on the border there and go into encamp stance. You don't need to be standing in your own territory. Raid them if you want. Instead, what you want to do on turn 2, recruit a new lord at Khazad Irkilaz. It doesn't really matter which lord that you want to recruit. And attach this hero into it. And recruit as many units as you can into this army. Probably Goblin Archers would be best, because these are the guys that are going to deal with Slayers, right? The Orc Boys, they're not good at dealing with Slayers, whereas the Archers can actually take them out, as long as they're distracted. So then on turn 3, you want to send this army down to the border, just on the edge here, go into encamp stance, and then declare war on Karak Kadrin, and then take Azag's army and occupy Karak Raziak. Now this should essentially be done with the Rock Skulls. You shouldn't need to finish them off. Have Azag recruit as many Orc Boys as he can on this turn here. Now over the end turn of turn 3, Ungrim Iron Fist, who should be sitting at Nashrak's lair, should come over here and attack your army. At which point, do not engage with it, just back off. Now, what should happen is Ungrim should force march into your territory here with essentially half a stack, about 11 or 12 units, right? Depending on, of course, the difficulty you're playing on. Now, this is what you want. You want Ungrim to be coming at you in the early stage of the campaign without a full stack, right? So then on turn 4, take your army and move to the back of this settlement here. Don't go inside the settlement, or else you won't be able to recruit from it, and just move to the back there. Now, if you were recruiting Orc Boys into the army, make sure that you build another barracks in one of these regions here. Although, like I said, I highly recommend going with Goblins for this particular engagement, because if this settlement here comes under siege, which is most likely that Ungrim will besiege it, you won't be able to recruit the Orc Boys. So just recruit the Goblins. Just keep that in mind before you start recruiting, because if you recruit the Orc Boys and they besiege it, you won't get any recruits. So recruit the Goblins, because that way you can get them from these minor settlements here, right? And if you sit inside the settlement, you won't be able to recruit. This is why you want to be right on the edge here, so that you can reinforce in case Ungrim was going to launch the attack, which he won't. He'll just lay siege. And you'll still be able to continue recruiting, and he won't be able to reach you because it's too far away. Then you want to take Azag and move to this position right here. Don't recruit anything, because the other guy needs the recruits. So on turn 5, at this point, you should be able to take this army and actually defeat Ungrim Iron Fist with it. A skilled player should be able to do it. He will have recruited a new army over here, but it shouldn't have reinforced. You'll be able to use the garrison as well, and you should be able to defeat that. And then jump Azag over here, and at that point there, you've essentially won against Ungrim Iron Fist. He's not going to recruit enough units to be able to deal with you. And once you've taken Karak Kadrin, this is where he recruits his Slayers from. At that point, yeah, you've won. So it is a challenging strategy to do, but if you successfully pull it off, you will have a much easier time in your campaign. But this is definitely one of those early game strategies that can go wrong if you're not a skilled player. So you need to keep your wits about you. It's not foolproof. Alright, now let's talk about Azag the Slaughterer himself. It's a pretty good greenskin legendary lord. His trait is Slaughterer, which provides character order leadership, effect +8, leadership aura size 75%. Gives him the spell aspect of the Dread Knight and Spirit Leech. That's why he doesn't need the other hero attached into his army to begin with, and he gets Azag War. I don't think this is a particularly amazing trait, but whatever. He's got some really good stuff in here though. So Imbued by Madness reduces the upkeep cost of Orc and Biggin units. I don't believe that it includes Black Orcs, and gives them Frenzy. Earth-Shaking Orders gives melee defense for those units and extra speed, base missile damage for Orc Arrow Boys and Savage Orc Arrow Boys. Insane Visions, extra hero capacity for Shaman and recruit rank. Not orky enough, will give them Vanguard deployment. Increased attrition when under siege. I don't really care that much for that, because typically speaking, when I launch an attack, I don't lay siege and staff them out. So some people like to staff them out, so that will definitely help. And then chance of intercepting armies using the underway stance. Wild Abandon just gives him extra physical, gives him extra damage. And Darkest Nimbus. This gives him passive ability Regeneration and a bounce spell Wind of Death. Now this can seem better than what it actually is, because Wind of Death not overcasted is actually kind of crap. Wind of Death is best used when overcasted, and you're not going to get access to that. So getting one use of it with no Winds of Magic cost isn't bad, but this is not as powerful as what some people believe it could be. It's not the true Wind of Death. And then in terms of his equipment, he's actually got really, really good equipment. So the Crown of Sorcery is needed in order to put any points into the Death Magic line. So you can get that fairly on. Makes you immune to Vampiric Attrition, Control, enables Allure of Death Magic, Miscast Base Chance, Bounce Spell, Gaze of Nagash. But Azag's Art Armor here, this is probably one of the best armors in the game. Ward save plus 15%, physical resistance plus 15%. So that's essentially 30% physical resistance plus melee defense, wound recovery time, and extra armor. And he's got an ability to boost all the units around him with extra armor and melee defense. That's probably one of the best armor pieces in the entire game. And then Slaggers Slashes, income from post-battle loot 25%, recruitment cost reduction, melee attack, weapon strength, and passive ability Slagger Slashes, which once again provides a area of effect benefit to all the units around him. So having a melee-focused army really does make use of Azag's benefits. And then if you get the whole set, you get Winds of Magic, Power Reserve, plus 20, and Control all provinces. Overall, Azag's got some really good equipment there. And then here's a faction trait over here, the Evil Crown. Diplomatic relations plus 40 with Vampire Counts and Ark in the Black. War has a chance to include Wyverns. Research rate 20%. Income from sacking settlements. That stuff there is okay. Overall, I think that Azag's got a very interesting campaign. Because taking on a powerful early game enemy is not something that every Legendary Lord gets to experience. But once you've taken out Ongram, it's not the most fun greenskin campaign. But it's pretty good. You got a lot of powerful enemies over here. I probably would recommend going into the old world. You can get a non-aggression pact with these guys here on turn 1 if you don't want to go into the Darklands. But if you do want to go into the Darklands, you could have an opportunity to confederate Grimgor Ironhide. But sometimes it's better to let Grimgor Ironhide get loads of territory first, and then just find him later down the track and smack him once and then confederate the whole lot. It's entirely up to you. Whatever the case is, you've got loads of options with Azag the Slaughterer campaign, which is a good sign of a strong campaign. Being aggressive is definitely going to benefit you greatly, so for aggressive players it's going to be a fun campaign. In terms of which difficulty I'd recommend, I'd say that probably the sweet spot for fun is maybe hard or very hard difficulty, but legendary difficulty, if you're looking for an early game challenge against Ungrim Iron Fist, it definitely provides it. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Azag the Slaughterer. Let me know which legendary lord you want me to cover next. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.